taste. Okay, let's get down to business. I'm guessing you don't actually have any urgent business with Tartaglia, per se. You just want information, right? Wanna take a guess? Of course you'd say that. You shouldn't underestimate Counselor Tartaglia, you know. That's right. I'm sure you've heard of the Snezhnograd Vecha by now. Well, he's busy preparing some paperwork for their next meeting. They'll be discussing yet another extension to Project Stuzha. It's basically all anyone cares about in the Vecha these days. Yeah, he's more of the shoot first, ask questions later sort, isn't he? It all started with a very detailed letter that Capitano left for the jester, Piero, before leaving for Natlan. In that letter, he detailed the future arrangements for his subordinates. All of his key people were reassigned to Tartaglia. I guess he'd already prepared to leave us for good all the way back then. But Piero didn't reveal the contents of the letter until the events in Natlan had concluded. That was his reaction, too. Why me? With a bewildered look on his face. He'd always assumed Capitano looked down on him. He was a man who kept his thoughts to himself and barely spoke to him the whole time they'd known each other. But he occasionally brought Tartaglia along to my tea parties back in the day. So to the rest of us, it was clear that Capitano had quite a lot of respect for his young comrade. By the rest of us, I mean my tea party regulars. Arlecchino, Rosaline, and... actually, not Columbina. She was probably oblivious to it. Anyway, then the Liues situation happened. Normally, it took a lot to get under Capitano's skin, but that time he was furious. It's not really my place to talk about it, though. You can ask Tartaglia about it sometime. Basically, Tartaglia probably had the wrong idea about Capitano all along, right up until Piero revealed the letter he'd left behind. Capitano believed that despite Tartaglia's immaturity, he showed great potential. Plus, he possessed a kind of purity rarely seen among members of the Fatui. Yeah, it's one of the few things that I'd agree those two have in common. But there's one other reason why Capitano chose Tartaglia to assume command of his troops. He knew that after he was gone, several of the others would swoop in on his army like vultures, with the ones who stood to benefit the most being the rooster Pulcinella and Regrator Pantalone. Once they divided Capitano's troops between them, they'd be more powerful than ever. No one would be able to stop them. So, you can see why Capitano chose to hand that letter to Piero, right? Exactly. Piero also needed to back a harbinger as soon as possible. And, all things considered, Tartaglia was the best choice. Even though Tartaglia has had the support of Northland Bank for a long time, he and Pantalone are ultimately not cut from the same cloth. I'd say Capitano made a good judgment call. Anyone else caught in this situation would probably feel like they'd been hung out to dry. His best course of action will be to distance himself from any shady business, while still maintaining friendly relations with Pantalone, but seeking Pulcinella's support at the same time.